The Asher Community Club is an organization that's very dear to my heart. It's located at the old Asher School. It's a one-room schoolhouse that's about 5 miles southwest of Paris, off Route 16. It was deeded by Mr. Wiley Asher, Mr. Wiley Asher, in 1850. His family was a very influential family, the Redmond family. They owned 3,200 acres around in the early 1800s. And so he deeded this 1 acre for a school. This building was built in 1898. It's a wooden structure, which I think makes a comment about how valuable it is to the community. It's 118 years old. This is as it was. In fact, it's as it was when it closed as a school in 1956, 55. So there's no plumbing. It has heat and there's no air conditioning, but it's just a wonderful place. It's just been fun for me all my life. The community club was established in December of 1947, and it was a suggestion from the teacher, Mrs. Sims. And I guess it's just my assumption that she saw how strong the community was and thought that this would be a good thing that they'd organize a club. So they did. We bought the building in 1957. It was at an auction, and the building was bought for $750, which there were 37 original members, and I think there was like 57 or 8 donators who provided some money. A funny story was Mrs. Lola Veeder lives across the road, and the story goes that there was a guy who was interested in buying the building and making it into a tavern. And the story goes, Mrs. Veeder threw $500 cash down and says, "No way, this will never be a tavern." So anyway, we have met as a community there since then, once a month. Currently we meet on Sunday afternoons from 5 o'clock in the wintertime and 6 o'clock in the summertime. We have all kinds of potluck dinners and ice cream socials and just great fellowship. The food is unbelievable. It's been potluck dinners, for example. It seems to me, as a non-cook, that the ladies compete sometimes, and they bring dishes that are just phenomenal. And of course share recipes and things like that. It's funny, in the old days, you know, it was the men on one side and the women on the other. It's not that way anymore. It's pretty well a co-ed, if you will. When I have to mention the dues, it's an expensive organization. The dues were established at 5 cents per month per person under 18. And there's no discount for couples. And it remains 5 cents per month, due in January in a lump sum. It seemed like when you go in there, you're just reminded of a simpler time and how much you counted on your neighbors and they counted on you.
Extension is 100 years old. We celebrated our anniversary in 1914. But to understand Extension, you really need to go back further in our history, actually the middle of the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln had some really optimistic visionaries as advisors, and they said, this union's going to be okay. We're going to be able to move forward. We're going to build a great nation by educating our people. And with that notion, they set up what we now call the land-grant university system. And we fast forward now to 1914, again, kind of an iffy time in our history, but again, we have some optimistic visionaries, particularly 2 legislators, one from Georgia, the other from South Carolina. Their names were Smith and Lever, and they said, you know, we're doing a great job with this land-grant university system, but why can't we somehow reach the folks who would never be able to attend the university? And from that moment, Extension was born. And we do this through 4 main areas of interest: nutrition and wellness or food safety, agriculture and natural resources, community and economic development, and youth development. In the early 1920s, there were beginning to be across the United States what they called boys and girls clubs. These were primarily funded by gifts from local banks, and instead of a cash gift from the bank gave each boy or girl who applied a bred gilt, and so that's a pig that is pregnant. And so the boy or girl would take this gilt home, raise it, she would have her baby pigs. The boy or girl could keep all but 2 of the piglets. 2 of the piglets had to be returned to the bank in payment for the original animal that they received. And that really was the start of 4-H. In the 30s, had the need or the desire to educate farm wives in food safety, in easier ways to do things, in the modern science, actually home economics, in the modern science of developing a home and raising a family. We're all familiar with Green Acres. We remember Mr. Haney, the extension advisor. Well, you know, that's a comical look at one thing that Extension does and did, in that Mr. Haney would come out and make the farm visit and recommend pesticides or different feeds for the livestock, and that tradition continues. Our Extension advisors are using the research-based information. I'm not sure that Mr. Haney, all of his ideas actually came from the university, however, ours do. We've come a long way, horseback to podcast. We still do in-person workshops. We can do anything from teach you how to bake a cake, to how to build a robot, how to plan for retirement, how to write a resume. The University of Illinois Extension really is your 411.
Having the Westbrook Farm, that essentially has caused a lot of people who came to tell stories of, you know, my grandfather was Mayo Westbrook Hiddle, and somehow weave their story in, which is what you want, you know, to keep history alive. Well, the Westbrook Farm was they're a family by the name of Smallwood Redmond. He and his brothers settled here from Kentucky. They're the ones that started the town of Redmond, Illinois. And Smallwood, they called him Bud Redmond, he bought the acreage, a section of land there where the Westbrook Farm is right now. He built the home there, the fine home on the land, and he died 2 years after the house was completed. And he left the house and the farm to his wife and 2 daughters. One of them went on to marry a Westbrook. And that farm really over the years, from the turn of the century, and even before, have become known as the Westbrook Farm. Well, you know how old farms go. The people, you know, who formerly lived there, they move away, and then the children inherit. Well, no one lives around, and then suddenly the house goes away, the farm goes away. And that's kind of what happened with the Westbrook Farm. So when we bought the house and decided to make that into a restaurant, that was one of the things we discussed, was how to weave that Westbrook name into it, because if we didn't, then that name would go away from Edgar County and no one would ever remember that Westbrook was part of that history. When we bought the house, and that was in 1988, the house had been empty for 40 years. It had been used as a barn for 40 years. And it's a big brick house, big brick interior and exterior walls. The original house was 3,000 square feet. We added 3,000 square feet to it. But because it was so structurally sound, they used it as a barn and they just boarded up the windows. They stored farm equipment in it, tractor, tires, grain, but it was so well preserved because of that. I mean, the floors were shot. They in areas had completely gone away because of the moisture of the grain that was stored in there. I have stories of because it was used as a barn, they just grazed cattle around. The tenant farmers just grazed cattle in that area, and of people doing tours of the house and having seen cattle grazing through the house, walking through the house. People from out of town will stop locally and say, where is that restaurant, and they'll, tell them it's way out, whereas in Chicago, something's way out. In Paris, it's really only 7 minutes from town. But we've had overwhelming response from Paris. We have lots of people from Paris who come every week, lots who come every month. Butch Parrish once did a story, a booklet on restaurants that had been in Paris, and he did one on the prairie. And those stories, if someday in the future someone's telling a story about restaurants in Paris, that Westbrook name comes back again. And that's kind of neat.
It's important that we maintain that Lincoln heritage. There's concern that so many people don't even realize Abraham Lincoln came through this area, that he considered the area important for what he was doing, both as a lawyer and as a politician. And it's a story that needs to be told. Edgar County has a connection with Abraham Lincoln, primarily through his time on the 8th Judicial Circuit as a circuit riding attorney. He was here in Paris twice a year while he was a circuit riding attorney, handled mostly routine, mundane cases. But Lincoln was an astute and well-respected lawyer. Before he started on the circuit, he was brought in to Paris by another attorney to help him with a case that involved water issues up in the northeastern part of the county. There were two farmers who had grist mills on the Brulitz Creek. The summer had been very hot. The creek dried up. The mills wouldn't work. One guy got real smart. He dammed the creek to create a mill pond so he could keep operating, but this robbed the guy downstream. Lincoln helped with that case. He won it. And also in that session, he also represented somebody who was in a dispute over two mayors. The contacts Lincoln made here in Paris were instrumental for him eventually obtaining the presidential nomination in 1860, because he had great contact with attorneys and politicians from Terre Haute and Western Indiana who would come to Paris to meet with him, talk with him. He was building a reputation long before he ever got the nomination as the Republican candidate in 1860. The challenge that we have in Edgar County of building a connection with looking for Lincoln is that so much of the fabric of Lincoln's time is gone. Very little remains. We have a great courthouse here in Paris now, but it was built in the 1890s. Lincoln never stepped foot in that building. The courthouse where he did practice was on the same site. It was right in the middle of the square. There's a great story about Lincoln coming out of the east side of the courthouse one day and encountering a group of young boys on the courthouse lawn playing marbles, and he got down and played marbles with them. We have some people in town who are very interested in hoping that we can get a statue of Lincoln on his hands and knees playing marbles with those boys. And around that, then you can go and perhaps build another event, maybe a marble playing festival. We have more to go to look into, but we hope within later this year to get our first exhibits up in various locations and start working on the outdoor plans, and then down the road to even expanding it more and becoming an important part of looking for Lincoln here in Illinois.
We began 60 years ago in 1956. A local Paris woman, Mrs. Gertrude Trogdon, wanted to share Paris with international students and guests. She wanted to allow them the chance to stay in an American home and just experience small-town America. So the first year she was able to accomplish this by working with the International House at the University of Chicago. She extended an invitation to international students to come to Paris. And that first year, 143 students from 35 countries accepted the invitation. The second year, 200 students accepted. Mrs. Trogdon wanted to allow the students to participate in Thanksgiving because it's a very traditional American holiday. And she thought that by bringing them down for the 4-day weekend, that they really would have a chance to know how we are, where we live, and so on. Currently, we work with several universities and colleges in the Chicago area. We extend the invitation to their foreign student advisor, who then announces the program or publicizes the program for us. And the students can make application. The applications are then reviewed by the fellowship. The students arrive on Wednesday evening. They are assigned a host family. Thursday, they share in the family's traditional Thanksgiving celebration. Friday, we have arranged tours and activities for them to be a part of. On Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon is free time to spend with the families. Saturday evening, we arrange a special candle lighting ceremony where the students all come back together and they share a meal, and then they light a candle for their country from the Brotherhood candle. On Sundays, the students are again with the family Sunday morning. Often they attend church services if that's what they wish to do, and then they depart by bus on Sunday afternoon. I think they are so interested in just being a part of a host family and experiencing the things that we do that they don't care. They want to be a part of whatever it is that we're doing. Personally, I've been a part of the program for 25 years. And during that time, we've had wonderful experiences. We've met many, many students from many different countries, and we still maintain contact with some of them, even though they've gone back home. Some of them are now living in the United States, have families, and we still communicate.
Be Well Coalition began kind of out of two people, myself and Mary Liz Wright with the U of I Extension, at a conference saying, we need to help the people of Edgar County. We need to bring these organizations together into one shared resource for one common goal. We brought together a whole bunch of organizations, and some of these organizations you may not think, oh, wellness? Why would we bring factories and manufacturers and stuff together? But again, they care about these people just like we do, because their wellness will affect their jobs. So bringing them together also allows us to have a conduit to the community as well. So we brought together many, many organizations, health and wellness organizations, factories, behavioral health, and kind of said, okay, what are some of the things that we could do in Edgar County to help the people for wellness, get information, education. The main thing that I see this coalition doing is breaking down the silos, and the silos of the organizations. So it's not just the hospital trying to do something, it's not just the health department, it's not just behavioral health, it's not just HRC, it's the entire community working together and sharing resources. So if the health department gets money to do something and the hospital gets money to do something, we can put all this money together and have one common goal, one common event. Really impactful in health fairs, really impactful in moving towards that giving to the community of that conduit of resources, education, and making Edgar County a better place. You've just done so many things in this year. I'm just excited to see what we're going to do in the following years.
I was born and grew up here in or quite near Paris. I have 6 older brothers and sisters, and I had 2 wonderful parents. They moved out to a farm homestead that my granddad had bought during the Great Depression. There were almost no trees there. My mom always looked on the bright side of things, and she heard the meadowlarks singing in the grass there and said, "Larkfield, let's call this Larkfield." And the name stuck. like a lot of kids growing up in a small town, I started yearning for the wider world. And after studying biochemistry at the University of Illinois, I then went to the State University of New York at Albany and got my master's degree there. And then on to Oklahoma State University, where I met a really cool guy, my husband-to-be, Randy Turner. It was a little bit of an odd feeling moving back in that, yes, I had memories and a lot of knowledge of the place, but as far as fitting into people's lives, initially I was kind of an outsider. As we began to get more involved in things with our children's education, their school activities, we became connected with lots of good people, many, many good people who were using their talents, their time, their temperament, their knowledge, their finances. And I kind of began to look around and wonder, okay, given who I am, what I'm good at, what I love, you know, what can I give? And I remembered a nature walk that was led the first Saturday of every month in Charlottesville, Virginia. I wanted to make something like that here. And I belonged to the Audubon Club, and I suggested, rather tentatively, at one of the meetings, maybe we could sponsor or offer something like that. So I was hooked. And these are still going strong. I usually go the day before or approximately earlier in the week, if that's what works out, and scout out the trails. Sometimes it's to see how muddy some of the trails are, but also to see what's there, what's going on. I think if I had not made that commitment to always be there on the first Saturday of every month, I wouldn't go to the woods that regularly. There'd be something else to do, or, oh, the weather's not very nice today. But having made that commitment, I love to see the woods in all the turns of seasons. And that's really what I want to connect with people. Just get out, take an hour out of your Saturday and feel what it feels like to get out in the woods and see what it is. And it's a joy to me, pun intended. It's great to come home.
And here we are. That's the last story right there. Paris, that was your story.
Wow, and what a story it was. What a fantastic night here in the studio.
Absolutely. We have, I mean, it's a night that's going down in history, all because of Paris tonight, because of the people who have called in to support this program. We are still here for a few more minutes, so make sure that you call that number right now. This is your chance to get a copy of that DVD.
We do not want you to miss out. We actually have Phil on the phone. There's other phones standing by. There's 7 more people that would love to talk to you right now. We want to go out with a bang with Paris. Ken, what you got going over there?
Well, I'll tell you what, I said it again, Laura. Tell you what, I've been told I've said that a lot tonight, so I'll just say it again. Arlene, you're a special person, and I'll tell you what, when you told your story that you were part of Mayfate, that you weren't part of Mayfate, and you wanted to make sure that you told that story tonight because it was special to so many girls in Paris, I thought that it was horrible that you never got to be a part of Mayfate.
You, Arlene!
Honorarium for you tonight because you're a special girl in our hearts.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Unfortunately, in my senior year, I had to leave Paris High School before Mayfate. So although I had participated as a freshman, a sophomore, and a junior, I did not get to participate as a senior. So yes, it is sad, but I've seen my daughter in Mayfate. I've seen my stepdaughter in Mayfate. I've seen my granddaughter be a flower girl for Mayfate. So it's all been great.
Well, we appreciate you telling that story. I think it's awesome. Enjoy your crown. You deserve it. You're a queen tonight. And for any of those girls out there that you have known that has been a part of Mayfate, this is your chance to get a copy of that story to be able to share with them. And we know there have been lots of girls part of that program. So don't miss out. Make sure you get your copy right now. Jana, back to you.
Thank you, Ken. We've got 4 people on the phone right now, so that's telling us that there are 4 people that need you to call right now. Let's go out with a bang. We need 4 more people. Come on. Let's get 4 more people on here because we have something special coming at the end, and you're going to love it. Come on in here, Ken.
This has been one special night. This has been all about Paris, showing their hearts, showing their pride in their community, sharing it with WEIU, and we are so proud to be a part of all that. They have hung out with us in the studio live all evening long, and you know what? We need 4 more calls
we do.
right
We
now.
do.
Push
Come
us
on.
over the edge. 4 more calls. You can do it. We believe in
Need
Paris.
4.
You believe in Paris. We take care of Paris, and Paris takes care of themselves. So all you have to do is call in right now. That number's at the bottom of your screen. 4 more calls. You can do it.
We've heard this over and over again from the first time we went to Paris. Paris knows how to take care of their own. If somebody needs help, they're going to help them. And that's the part that made us fall in love with Paris. And we know if we fell in love, if you're from Paris, you know that there's a lot of love there. And we could not ask for a better community to do the story.
Absolutely not. The love has been spread throughout the airwaves tonight, online as well. Brenda is still spreading the love. Andrew is still spreading the love from Paris. Thank you so very much.
Barbara as well. What number are we at? We're at 128 people.
2 more.
Woo-hoo.
We need 2
Two
more
more
calls.
people.
2 more calls.
2 more people. We need you to call right now. We got 1 person on the phone. 2 more people. Who's going to be the last 2 that we have called tonight? We know that you've been sitting there all night. We know you've probably laughed. You've probably cried. You've probably said, oh my gosh, I know that person. And you probably said, I didn't know that happened in Paris.
Exactly, and that's just what I was going to say. You could say, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. There's 1 more. We need one more call. We said we wanted 130 earlier. We're going to make it with 1 more call. Paris, you can do this. Give us a call right now. I'm not giving up till we hit 130, and that's just the way it's going to be because that's how Paris is.
Yes, they are. They always come through. And we know that there's 1 more person right now that you want to call. You've been waiting all night. Here's your time to shine. We need you to get on the phone and make that call. We're going to wait here until we get that call. So who's it going to be?
We're going to wrap this up. Who's going to be the one to wrap it up for us tonight? If you were in the band, if you went to the school, if
Yes,
you
they
lived
are.
in Paris,
We
come on, people. You can do it. 1 more call. 1 more call. 1 more call. 1 more call. You can do it, people.
You know what? We've had all of our storytellers and their spouses, a lot of them in here with us tonight, and what a joy it's been. And I had my sister, my best friend here tonight. So this has been a really special night. I'll never forget it. Renee from Paris, thank you so much. Marjorie from Paris and Alan from Paris.
Do you see that number right there?
131!
131. We got it, baby.
We got it. We
Way to
got
go.
it. Everybody come in here.
Come on in.
Come
here
on
and
in
join
here.
us.
Warren,
we
get
want
up
to
here.
say a special thank you to all these very special people.
Somebody's-
The phone is still ringing. That's awesome. Keep them going. We got phone calls standing by.
Come on in, everybody.
We've got a very special little presentation for you right here. Warren, kick us off.
Here we go.
Thank you all very much. You've been absolutely wonderful. It's been great. By the way, this is going to be for 1 more time. Paris, this is for you. Hey, gang, we're the Tigers. Paris Tigers. E-me-I-kai. Ooh-cha-cha. Oh. Thank you so much.
Paris, this is our story. Thank you so very much for tuning in.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everybody.
Woo, out with the song. Come on.
Paris, This Is Our Story is made possible by Paris Clinic Pharmacy, located inside the Family Medical Center, committed to serving the people of Paris and all of Edgar County. Enjoy Paris, This Is Our Story from your friends at Paris Clinic Pharmacy. Sarah Bush Lincoln Land Home Care in Paris, providing home health care services to the area. We are trusted, compassionate care and proud to be a part of Paris, This Is Our Story. Lori's Pins and Needles at 1122 North Main Street. Lori's offers fabrics, patterns, books, quilting and sewing supplies, and is an authorized sales and service dealer for Husqvarna Viking, Baby Lock, and Handy Quilter machines. Paris Community Hospital Family Medical Center. Our patient care and investments in medical technology show our ongoing commitment to the communities of East Central Illinois. Paris Community Hospital is pleased to help bring you Paris, This Is Our Story. The Paris Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism, proudly supporting all things Paris. The Paris Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism is delighted to help support Paris This Is Our Story. Additional information by phone or online at parisilchamber.com. The Edgar County Community Foundation seeks to raise the quality of life throughout Edgar County by developing and supporting philanthropy to meet the needs of its residents. The ECCF is dedicated to the residents of Edgar County, their facilities, their education, and their welfare. Robert Morgan Incorporated at 1907 South Central Avenue in Paris is proud to help bring you Paris This Is Our Story. Thank you to all of the storytellers who helped make this program come to life from your friends at Robert Morgan Incorporated. Additional funding provided by Milk Specialties Global of Paris. And by Savoy's Pizza, located at 104 West Court Street in Paris.